I always knew that my parents loved me, but I didn't know how it would go. I didn't know if they would encourage me to try and change my behavior. I kind of thought that they would. And I kind of thought that they would want me to go into counseling and things like that. And I had already made up my mind before I told them what my road was going to be. I mean, I made up my mind. There wasn't going to be a bunch of counselors. I wasn't going to be in our bishop's office at church, you know, trying to find ways to repent. I knew. I was like, this is it. I'm done. I'm gay. This is the way it is.
I asked him if it would be all right if I told his dad. And he said that would be fine. And we went home. And turns out that Robert and I were getting ready to go on a little business trip together. And I went ahead with the preparations, being astonished that my hands still knew how to cook. I thought, my head is in this amazing place where I know that my life has just changed radically, irrevocably, and in ways I can't even understand completely, but my hands still know how to cook. Imagine that. It's just this strange mental place to be, almost like you're observing yourself from some unembodied place, observing that your life is going on when this amazing thing has happened. I should say that during the time I actually talked to my son, before I went home, he said, Mom, you're not crying. And again, it was that feeling of being kind of frozen. And I told him, I will probably need to cry, but it's just not yet. But when we finally went ahead and finished our preparations for our trip and started on our trip, I told Robert that there was something I needed to tell him that was very, very difficult, and that's when the tears came. And I've since thought, why the tears? Why so sad? And it's because you fear for your child. It wasn't that I was ashamed of him. I didn't know how to even understand yet what he had told me, but I knew enough to be afraid for him. Afraid, and also you begin thinking again of the dreams you dreamed for your child. And this was not one of your dreams. This was not in the plan of life you had hoped for your child. But as I expressed to Robert what our son Kerry had told me, he immediately pulled the car into a strip mall. This was actually 15 years ago, before we had cell phones. But he said, I need to find a phone. And I wondered, again, with such an agitated state of mind, I couldn't imagine why he needed a phone. And the reason he needed a phone was to call our son. And I've loved him for a lot of years. I've loved Robert for a lot of years. But I especially loved him in that moment, because he said, I don't want Kerry to worry even one more minute about what my response will be.
He stopped at a grocery store. And he said, I just want you to know that everything is going to be fine. Everything is going to be okay. You don't need to have any fear at all.